Hi friends, today once again I welcome you for the online class of the Kerala Public School, Araria. Today now I'm going to deal with lesson class 10 and the politics. And we discussed in last class about the lesson first, otherwise chapter first. In social studies, name is called power sharing. About this lesson, last class, one episode, one part we completed. Now we are going to deal with the rest of the part of this same lesson. Class 10, that's chapter 1, part 2. Part first already over. Now we are going to deal with the part 2 from the rest of the parts of the lesson from power sharing. I request you to everybody open your textbook with me, and I am reading and explaining. And you have to cast your complete attention towards me, and it's a blessing for you to understand the lessons totally without having any problems. So, now we are going to start, and let me give you some introduction, maybe the formal introduction. And we discussed those days maybe about the first topic that talks about the Belgium and Sri Lanka. And we understand that maybe what are the problems arised in Belgium and Sri Lanka because of the different type of ethnical groups. And for the power sharing, they have so many problems because they have different type of ethnical group of people, different percentage in different areas. And for the governing purpose, they have lots of problems, and they are unable to understand their problem. And also, they all want to get power. They all want to get to in administration for other people. But different groups of people are there, and even the percentage also different. That purpose only they have lots of problems. Then we discussed all the problem of the Belgium and Sri Lanka in last class, part 1. And also we discussed about the majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. And that time also I explained very clearly. There are Sinhala speaking people are there, and there are 74% of people that speaks Sinhala, and there are 18% of the people they speak Tamil, and these also two different group of people are there. I already informed all those things, and also more than 8% of people they speak both Sinhala and Tamil languages. About that I explained, and because of this majoritarianism in Sri Lanka, what are the things that happened with those people? I explained at those class, and we understand that maybe in 1956, because of one of the acts was passed, and through that act, we know that they have decided so many things, and one or two important things I explained last class. That's like this. Sinhala became an official language, and the government followed and preparatory and policies that favored the Sinhala, because Sinhala people are favored and they accepted Sinhala is their own official language. Then maybe the Tamil speaking people, they have so many problems about that, and they said that we also want to have our own language supremacy, otherwise as an official language. But they decided already the Sinhala is their own official language. So they have so many problems. And there are some favoritism also happen for the Tamilian people, because Tamilian people are just like neglected. They are not at all getting any priority in Sri Lanka. About that we already learned. And there are so many problems arised, and we understood that maybe the Tamilians are alienated, that I explained last class, and they felt that the leaders are sensitive to their own language and culture. That also I explained that last class. And the constitution and government policies denied the equal policies right. And the fourth one, we understand that government shown discrimination. These are the understanding of Tamil people, those who lived in the Sri Lanka. That I already explained. And we have to go for, there are some consequences actually. That is not at all mentioned a topic, but while we are reading the paragraphs, we are getting some important consequences that I explain right now. Listen now. The relation broke down because it is of favoritism and their preferential policies. Even the Tamil people, they felt that the government showing some favoritism. Because of that, the relation with the Sinhala people, with the Tamil people, that already broke out. And point number 2, the Tamilians started for equality for jobs and language. Because of the favoritism, the Tamil people will not get in the government jobs. And also for their own languages, they fought against the Sinhala people. And point number 3, demand for the independent Tamil other states. In Sri Lanka itself, the Tamil people, they want their own area, their own region, and their own states. That was the third point. And fourth, we can understand that they started civil war. Because of the majoritarianism, they started their own civil war. And point number 5, and thousands of people injured and killed. You know that because of the power sharing, this only problem, and they have the civil war also, and because of that war, the consequence of this war is so many people injured, so many are wounded, and also, and what happened? Many people, forward to leave the country. So many people, they just want to leave the country because of the ethnical problem, because of the majoritarianism, and Singla, they are selected, and the government are also showing there are some favoritism. That purpose only they have so many problems arise in Sri Lanka. That's the problem will end in Sri Lanka part. Now we have to go ahead. So now we have to deal with there are the accommodation in Belgium. So I already mentioned here these 2 topics we have completed. Now we have to go for the accommodation in Belgium. You know that Sri Lanka, what are things happened that we understood. Now we have to go for the Belgium, because Belgium problem also already mentioned earlier, the first episode. Now we have to understand the accommodation in Belgium, how that's happened. Because we understood that there are also 3 different linguistic people are there, and language speaking people are there. Then also, and how they try to solve their own problem. About that we are going to learn right now. Because Sri Lanka and one particular language majoritarianism, and government also showing there are some favoritism, and Tamil people are completely entirely they are neglected every areas. They are not getting government jobs, so they have so many problems. They have civil war, and so many people injured, so many people wounded, so many people they just want to escape from Sri Lanka. This also happened because of this one decision of the government. Now we have to learn something about the accommodation in Belgium. How the Belgian people deal all those things. Okay, with the problem which is arised in Sri Lanka, and how the Belgium and how the Belgian people deal this problem. And while you are reading, you will get so many information. I will inform one by one right now. You listen. We can understand that maybe accommodation in Belgium, the Belgian leaders took a different path. They recognized the existence of regional references and cultural diversities. You know that the Belgium government has taken a very good and positive decision for their own country. And Sri Lanka, they didn't take a positive decision for their own country because they never considered other people. They never considered either maybe the Sinhala speaking or Tamil speaking people. But the Belgium, they have taken another decision because they try to understand that in our own country, we have different ethnical group of people are there. So we have to consider those people also. So they have taken decision according to their own ethnical group. And they understood that diversities are different linguistic people are there, different regional speaking, language speaking people are there, and different cultured people are there, and there maybe all the systems are entirely different. So they just want to accommodate that also. They are giving the priority of that languages also. Such kind of decision they have taken. Now we can understand that in between 1970 and to 1993, they amended their constitution. They enabled everyone to live together with the same country. See, how they decided, how they positively deal with that problem. And Sri Lanka, they struggled a lot, but these people in 1972, 1993, this time they have made their own amendment, the constitution also. Then they enable everyone through the constitution giving the rights to every people to live together within the same country, because they allowed all the people, all different type of ethnic group of people, they are able to live in the same country without any problem. That type of decision they have taken by the Belgium government. Now, there are some elements we are going to see from those parts. Then first one is then the constitution prescribes the number of the Dutch and French speaking and ministers shall be equal in central government. You know that mainly we understand that in Belgium Dutch and French speaking people are there. And you know that the government decided that even the constitution prescribes the number of the Dutch and the French speaking ministers shall be equal in the central government, because the central government, when they formed, they have given the equal opportunity for both the language speaking people. That's very important. So we have to understand that maybe in Sri Lanka they are not at all given that much priority for the both different languages. When we learn about Sri Lanka, we are getting a clear information that these Sri Lankan people, they have already shown the favoritism, and they have never considered the other ethnic group of people, those who are living in Sri Lanka. So Belgium taken a different decision that they understood that so many people, different linguistic people are there, different ethnic group of people are living in our own country. So we have to give them equal manner for, equal priority for two different group of people. So that's a very good decision. You can understand that while you're reading this lesson, you will get a clear information about these topics and about the power sharing. So we can understand that these Belgian people given a very good decision for their own country, and they are saying that even the central government, both Dutch and French-speaking people, they are selected for the central government. That's one of the good things, because now the both group of people, both ethnic group of people, and people are selected for the central government, then there is no more problem. Almost all the people are happy, because all different and major ethnical, others linguistic people are, others language speaking people are selected for their own country for the central government. Then what's the problem arise? There's no more problem. Almost all the people, those who are living in the nook and corner of the Belgium, they all are happy. But you think about the Sri Lanka. Actually, what has happened? They neglected. They have shown the favoritism of the Tamil people, are only the Sinhala people are. They are prioritized, and also they got so many even chances in the government, even the central level, even the governing level, every level we can understand that only the Sinhala speaking people, they got the priority. And almost, you know that the Sri Lankan Tamil speaking people, they are neglected. That purposely they have a problem. But in Belgium we can understand that so many powers of the central government, you know, this both group of people came. And next we can understand that Brussels, that's the capital city of Belgium, has a separate government in which both the communities have equal representation. You listen carefully, because in Belgium we can understand that already for the government central, maybe the both different ethnic group of people selected, so people don't have any problem. And you know that one of the important things, again we can see that the Brussels, the capital city, we can understand that the city also we can understand as a separate government in which both communities have equal representation. That's a very important decision taken by the Belgium. So the people are so much happy. They have no more problem for this. Now we have to go ahead. Something, why power sharing desirable? You know, one is the topic is mentioned there in our textbook. Now we learned already about the Belgium and Sri Lanka and their problem, and how the Sri Lanka problem still continuing, and how the Belgium solved their problem, that also we understood. Now we have to go ahead the next topic, that is mentioned the accommodation in Belgium. You listen carefully. You have to open your textbook with me, and while I'm reading and explaining, you listen carefully. And now accommodation in Belgium, about that we are learning. Here we can understand that the Belgian leaders took a different path. They recognized the both existence of regional differences and cultural diversities. Because the Belgian people and the leaders of the Belgium, they understand the path, they recognized the existence of the regional differences and cultural diversities. You know that they understood about the cultural diversities are there, linguistic diversities, ethnic group diversities are there, they understood. So the people, the government tried to understand the people problem, then only they are able to take such a decision. It's one of the very good decisions they have taken, because why they have taken such a decision, they understood the diversities. So in Sri Lanka we can understand they didn't understand the problem. The diversities they didn't understand. They want to have their own power sharing. But you know that these people, Belgium, they understood the diversities. That's a very important thing. And secondly, we can understand that they decided maybe in 1970 to 1993 amendment. That amendment also they have given priority for ethnic groups. And in capital city also they have given for the central government for the both language, others linguistic, others language speaking people are represented, equal representation. So now you have to understand that why power sharing is desirable. So here 1 or 2 points I will explain very clearly. Power sharing is a good because it's helped to reduce the possibility of conflict. If a power sharing is there, there will not be any conflict. You know that we understanding about the Belgium problem, then only we automatically that's coming to our mind that, and maybe the conflict, the possibility of the conflict will be over if you are understanding the people. So same like that, the power sharing is a good because it's to help to reduce the possibility of the conflict. Because if we are understanding and all the different type of people, different ethnic group of people, those who are staying, living in our own country, and we have to accommodate, we have to take care of those people also. Then we are thinking like that, then all the problem of the conflict, the possibilities of the conflict will be over. Okay, so power sharing is very important. And second one, power sharing is the very spirit of democracy. You know that power sharing is just like a spirit of democracy, because all the people are getting their own chances, even for the casting their votes, and they are able to select their own government. If all the different ethnic group of people, they have their own understanding for the democratic system. So to whom they want to give, they want to cast their own votes, they can do it. So they have the freedom for that. So this power sharing is like just like the very spirit of a democracy, otherwise the democratic system. Because and all people are included, nobody is excluded, and all are getting a chance for their own casting votes, and they are able to select their own candidates to govern themselves. That's very important things. So these are the main two things, because conflict will be over if power sharing is there. And point number 2, power sharing just like the spirit of democracy. These two things we have to understand in your mind. Now we have to go ahead something about the forms of the power sharing. And the last topic mentioned here, the forms of the power sharing. Okay, there are some few points maybe I will deal with right now, and while you are reading you will get that complete information. And you know that the forms of the power sharing, we can understand that one base of principles of democracy is that people are the source of all political power. And in democracy, people rules themselves through institution of self-governance, and everyone has a voice in the sharing the public policies. You know that here power sharing, there are forms are there, and people only the same common people only governing other people. We are selecting some candidates from our own side. Maybe here 100 people are there, from there only that people we are selecting as a candidate to govern us. So people are selecting, people are governing the same people only. So this is one of the important thing to understand in democratic system. So the basic principles of the democracy is that people are the source of the political power. People are the sources of the political power. And you know that they have the voice. Maybe any problems are there, they can raise their own voice. They have freedom to raise their own voice. That also one of the important things. So we are able to shape our democracy and we are able to shape our governing style because the people are raising their own voice. Even the government is doing some mischievous things. They are making some problem and then people are able to raise, they have the freedom to raise their own voices. So we are able to shape the government system and we have to make amendment again for our constitution. So these are the features are there for if the democratic system is there in any particular country. So Belgium also taken very good decisions and according to their own decision, these are the features are we can see in their country. Now, the common arrangement in the modern democracies. There are some common arrangement. I'll explain one by one in the points. You know that that's a very simple. You maybe the earlier classes you understand about the power is shared among the different organs of the government. And you know that maybe the system and the democratic system we understand that maybe there are the governing the function is in different people. First of all, we can say there are legislators are there. And secondly, we can see that there are executives are there. And point number 3, we can see that judiciary is there. The governing a particular nation, maybe the democratic system, we can understand that the legislator, maybe those who are making the rules of the country, that's the legislator, and the executives, and they are practicing, the exercising the power of the government, the executives are there. And point number 3, judiciary. Judiciary means judging, maybe any conflict, any problems are arising in their own country, and you have to just approach the court. And the court will decide which one is right, which one is wrong. And judiciary is there. So, the functioning in 3 different levels are there. And that is legislature, executives, and finally we can see judiciary. These are the 3 things everywhere we are able to see. You know that in India the same system we followed. And you know that legislators are there, the people used to make, the governing people they used to make their own, maybe the amendment, even the constitutions, and they are making the new rules and laws for our own country to govern the people, and the executives exercising power, the governing board, they decide the law, the people are there, executives are there, exercising that power for the people. That's the second thing. And finally, we understand that third, the judiciary. The people are there, judges are there, courts are there, we have the local courts, we have the high courts are there, we have the supreme courts are there. So different levels of courts are there, and we are able to approach the court according to our cases, and we are able to get the remedies from the court. That's the judiciary. So the 3 things available in the democratic system that we found in our textbook, and also we understand under the maybe the 6th class, 7th class, they are giving a glimpses of the judiciary and everything. Even the executives, even the legislature, you are getting the glimpses of understanding about all those things. Okay, so you know about all those things, so you don't need to explain again and again. Now we just go ahead, and maybe the first one we understand that even the common arrangement in the modern democracies, that the first one is the legislature, executives, and the judiciary. And point number 2, power can be shared among the governments at different levels. You know that power can be shared among government at different levels. What do you understand from that particular definition? Here we can understand that 3 different levels are there. First one is called central level, and the second one is called state level, third one is called panchayat or municipalities. You know, these the 3 different type of levels are there in our government in democratic system. So central government is there, central level, state government. Our India also divided into different states are there, and state level, and this government also elected to govern that particular states, and they have. And maybe we can understand that we are going down maybe the panchayat, otherwise the municipalities level. 3, there are these 3 different levels of governments are there in our own country in each state. So we can understand maybe the 3 levels are, that's the point number 2. because power can be shared among the government at a different level. So, central level and state level and panchayat or municipality the level. These are the three different levels of the governing system. And point number 3, the power can be shared among the different social groups such as religious and linguistic group. Example, community of the government in Belgium. You know that here very clearly giving examples, power can be shared among the different social group. You know that Belgium is one of the best examples. You know that two different ethnic group of people, they are given the equal priority. There is no more favoritism. Just like Sri Lanka shown the favoritism for singular people only, but Belgium, they maybe included both different language people and you know that, and they solved their problem also. So here very clearly mentioned that the Belgium is example, and we have to understand that such a religion and linguistic group also included, and power also we are able to share with those people, then our problem will be solved. And point number 4, power sharing arrangement can also be seen in the way of political parties, others the pressure groups and the movements. You listen carefully. Power sharing arrangement can also be seen in the way of political parties. You know that in any states, and we can have different type of political parties are there. So it can be shared with the different political parties. That's what happening even in India also. There are some examples. Or sometimes one government can be coalition government. Okay, power can be shared. You know that coalition government. What do you mean by coalition government? You know that coalition government is more than 2 or 1 or 2 or 3 different political parties. If they don't have the majority, they are able to mix together and they can make the majority of that particular states and they are able to form their own government. You understand what I am saying? That's called coalition government. Coalition government means more than one party. If the one party, they themselves unable to, they don't have that much majority, then if majority people are able to frame their own government, so in any states, if the any different political parties are there, they don't have the majority, so any both different group political parties, they mix it together, they join together, then if they are showing their majority, then they are able to frame their own government in a particular state. That type of government system also we can see even in India. So many states we can see the coalition government. So this is called a coalition government. That means more than one party, they mix it together, they join together and forming their own one single party, and they are showing their majority and they are able to frame their own government. That type of system also we have to do. That's called coalition government. Okay. So the coalition more than 1 or 2 or 3 parties as a group of their alliances elected, and they can form government. If the majority is not there, though the coalition they can show majority seats and able to form their own government. So we have to understand that a coalition means more than one parties, they are mixing together and they are showing their majority, and with that majority they are able to frame their own government for a particular states, and they are able to govern that particular, they can share their own governing system to their own states. These are the information we are getting from this lesson. Now almost I understand that I hope that you understand what are things I explained today and the last classes. We mainly discussed about the Belgium, the problem of the Belgium and Sri Lanka, and how the Belgium deal with the problem, how the Sri Lanka deal with the problem. Sri Lanka is utter failure, and you know that, but Belgium is positively taken everything. They considered all the ethnic group of party and they solved their problem. And even in the Belgium also we didn't see any maybe such a kind of problem, such a kind of conflict again and again. Why? Because of that they already decided that they understood that in our own country different ethnic group are there. So all they are including everyone. But Sri Lanka we understand that Sinhala has accepted, rest of all the different languages are excluded. So they have so many lots of problems. And majoritarianism in Sri Lanka, that we understand different group of people, ethnic group of people, and their percentage explained. And thirdly, the accommodation in Belgium. About that, I very clearly explained because Belgium had taken a very good decision for their own people, those who are living in their own country, and they solved their own all problems. And fourthly, power sharing is desirable. It's necessary. Power sharing is necessary. Finally, while we are reading about all those things, we understand that power sharing is necessary. That is a very clear understanding. And fifth, we understood that forms of the power sharing. And power sharing is very important. What are the priorities are there? What are the benefits if you are shared the power? About that, I have given an example. And 4 points I already explained. And finally, as per the coalition government, more than one or two parties, they are mixing together and they are forming their own government and they are framing their own government for leads. Others the government, others they share the power in their own states. That's called coalition government. That also be possible. That very clearly. So I hope that almost this single lesson we understood. Right now, the total lesson with the two parts. First part already over, second part. With that, I explained all the topics very clearly. And you now your time is there, and you have to go through the books carefully, read again and again. Unless you are not understand the lessons, go through the dictionary and find out the vocabularies, others the terminologies, different terms and terminologies are mentioned there. That may be hard for you. So, if you are not understanding the meaning, go find, keep a dictionary with you, write it down, meaning and meaning of any vocabularies and memorize it properly. Then you read, you will get the clear understanding. And I explained everything clearly. So, I would like to wind up today's my class. The first lesson is over. So, now we will see next topic, next lesson by the next class. Okay, till then, bye. Thank you very much. God bless you.